Hey, what up everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you. I finally got my truck yesterday, so this was my first trip back to the gym, and I feel great about going to work today after this. I just got done with the gym. Like I said, I was listening to the Chris Jericho podcast with him and the conspiracy theory guy. I now believe nothing in the world is real anymore. Honestly, I sort of was like, I'll check out this episode, and if it's good, I'll keep listening to it, and if not, I'll hit the next button, and I'll find the next podcast that comes onto my iPod today. But I honestly was really into this show. I thought it was really good, and I recommend that you go check it out. It was formally announced today on WWE.com that the Intercontinental Championship will be being defended at the upcoming SummerSlam show. Honestly, with RYBACK's what the heck did he have? Staph infection. He was pulled from the last pay-per-view. He said that he was crushed, that he was not going to be able to defend the championship and needed to go home and get well. I was sort of surprised that WWE did eat up some time on the pay-per-view, didn't put a match of Big Show versus The Miz on. They just sort of scrapped them, put them to the side. I don't even know if they were at the building that day. But they decided to go with a Divas match instead, putting Team Bad, Team Page, and which one am I missing? Team Bad, Team Page, and no, Team Bella's out there in the three-way, and that was a good match. It was fun to see those girls out there. And I guess at the end of the day, it didn't really need to see Big Show and Miz go out there for a one-on-one match. But if you go back to the feud that built up the last pay-per-view that was building to the three-way, it was Ryback out there calling himself the big guy. Then the Big Show came out there and basically said nobody's going to call themselves the big guy unless they go through me. And it looked like we were going to have two big behemoths go out there and go at it. I like to see matches like this. It reminds me a lot of when I was growing up watching the 80s. Guys like Hercules Hernandez go out there and just, beat the hell out of each other. Just hit each other as hard as they can. And basically not a real big wrestling match, but just a fight. And that's what I was looking for between Big Show and The Miz. Big Show and Ryback. Then The Miz butted his nose into there, and he did a good role. I mean, for a lot of the matches, he wasn't even in the match. He would be like the color commentator, or sometimes he just was out at the ring with a live microphone, just anticipating these guys fighting, just sort of, putting the knife into each other's backs. He wasn't really on one guy's side or the other guy's side, but he was like he would build up trust in one of them and then immediately turn on him and go to the other guy, and he just was that antagonizing fight. If you go back to in high school, so many times there's two guys that have a misunderstanding, and it's never that they, sometimes they do want to fight, but sometimes, they just sort of get there and they're sort of standing there, and it's always like that one guy in the crowd, like, antagonizing. He might even kick the one guy in the butt to make the one guy, bump into the other guy, and then the other guy starts swinging, and then you got to fight. You got something to watch, and that's all that guy was really looking forward to. Ryback is the Intercontinental Champion. Honestly, I can't even really think of how he won it. I know that they stripped Daniel Bryan, and I know that Ryback beat somebody to become the IC champ, and Daniel Bryan went out there and he shook his hand. But honestly, the Intercontinental Championship, they've been trying to rebuild this since WrestleMania 31, when Daniel Bryan won the ladder match. Daniel Bryan was supposed to go on the Intercontinental, Open Challenge Tour that was supposed to be held on SmackDown. With Bryan's book and Bryan's injury, Bryan's doing a lot of press, and he's talked about what he was supposed to do for the Intercontinental title. He was supposed to go out and have really good matches with lots of guys that are on the roster that aren't really getting the time on Raw or SmackDown, trying to get them inspired, trying to give these guys something to go to Vince with and show them that, hey, I really know what I'm doing. If you just give me a chance, we can both make money here. But honestly, it almost feels like the Intercontinental Championship is cursed, with Wade Barrett being stripped, Daniel Bryan being stripped. Ryback didn't get stripped, but honestly, I don't really know why. It's not like Ryback is on this Intercontinental Championship tour where he's just really crushing it, and people are really like, yeah, Ryback. I mean, Ryback's on this tour where basically people are getting behind him again. It's almost like it's 2012 again, before the loss to CM Punk and Hell in a Cell, and especially before him losing to Mark Henry at WrestleMania 29 and then turning turning heel and going after John Cena and blaming him for the loss. You know, from there on out, you know, just basically Ryback, when, you know, was tagging with Curtis Axel, and, you know, they were never winning matches. Something that they made fun of themselves when they had their reunion, I guess, after Ryback came back from his injury, and they formally broke up on WWE.com. I like Ryback. I like him a lot. I don't know if I really like him in the Intercontinental title hunt. I think that of Ryback as a guy that maybe has some mid-card matches, beats some guys down, and once a year at a, you know, lesser sort of pay-per-view, he becomes this guy that's going after the title after some sort of a heel, and the heel wants no part of Ryback, finds some way to wussy his way out of losing the match to Ryback, and Ryback still looks big and still looks strong. I mean, there were so many guys like that on the roster back in the day when I was a kid watching it. It seemed like something that was really, really good. But now it seems like, you know, Big Show, Mark Henry, Ryback, these big guys, you know, just trying to, you know, be on the roster all year round. They're dropping matches on SmackDown. Next thing you know, they're dropping matches on Monday Night Raw. And you're just looking at these guys like they don't really matter in the long run. They're just big dudes. You know, it's not that they don't have any skills. They just don't win a lot of matches. So they don't look like big stars in the grand scheme of things. So, you know, they're going to have this match finally at SummerSlam. I'm guessing that if they didn't strip Ryback from the championship, I got my money on Ryback to keep the championship, because I don't know, if they didn't want Ryback to be the champion, they just would have put the title on Big Show or Miz and had them have a one-on-one match at the last pay-per-view. That's the only thing I can think.